Hello, good morning, everyone. First of all, thanks a lot for joining us today. My name is Karan Nirmal. I work as a marketing manager with JioTesseract. We at JioTesseract are committed to inspire, educate, create robust networking platforms for people and businesses and bring transformation with the power of XR, right? I'd like to welcome you all with setting some context about topics of discussion for the day. As we all know, stories have the power to charm and influence and even change our behavior. What we remember the most are experiences that we come across on a daily basis, basically how that makes us feel, right? So, in this world of digital natives, audiences are immersed in a sea of digital media, right? Where other forms of content compete for our attention. We all have been part of it on both sides of the spectrum, correct? For the first time in history, we have the power to create digital worlds of our choosing. And the metaverse is here to take you to the world of limited possibilities. In today's session, we're going to discuss various XR use cases in the Indian metaverse based on the categories, the type of target audiences, correct? Differences between 3DOF, 6DOF applications, and what it means for developers to work on these. How to make your application stand out in the metaverse, and much more. So, without taking much more time, right, I would love to welcome our speakers for the session today.
First of all, thank you, Karan, for this warm introduction for me. Thank you so much for that. First of all, welcome everybody for the session. As Karan mentioned, we have certain agendas that we're gonna target. So I think everybody is very familiar what metaverse is, how Facebook is doing incorporating metaverse into their principle, how Google is also into getting the AR glasses and everything. Apart from this, like metaverse has the other things as well. Like there is a like NFT and the cryptocurrency is coming in the place where you will be having like a totally different modes of currency exchange. That is one. Then there is a Web 3.0, which is kind of equivalent to metaverse. Like when people talk about metaverse, it's just like it's equivalent to what Web 3.0 is. Now it's not exactly thing as of now, but yeah, that's what it is equivalent to. Now, I was just talking about how what is actually happening in the Indian part in Metaverse, which is like the virtual concerts. Like Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber have just delivered their virtual concerts in a Metaverse, and they are majorly like people are coming into their platform and like just attending the virtual concerts, and they are majorly done through some gaming platforms like Fortnite. And the last part is like how social interaction is being happening in the world. Like you can enter into a virtual space. You'll be joining by your friends in their digital avatar, and later on, of course, you can like connect with them, share screen with them, like watch videos and things like that. Now, in all of this, what I wanted to convey is that it's a very simple way. Is like metaverse is not what it's gonna be like a digital space, like where you gonna hang around with your friends and everything. It's not only that. It's majorly a bridge between the real world and the virtual world, because you cannot have take it out the real world from the virtual world, like in a way. It's just a bridge between that, and that's where I think our vision and a lot of companies with us are coming up in the spectrum. Now, the idea of metaverse being created and by one individual and everything that has been done. But you have to understand that at the very principle of metaverse, the if everybody would have to say, it is more of like a decentralized and democratized way of using internet. That is what the highlight of it is. That is what the basic principle of metaverse of Web 3.0 comes in. And when you're trying to create such a decentralized and democratized world, it cannot be created by any individual or any company. It will be created by the people like you, like your developers, the consumers, the platform makers. These are the people who will be making this metaverse. And to get to that point where we are creating such things, we need to find the use cases for that. Just coming out from this perspective, like this is what we believe in, like a decentralized and democratized way of internet cannot be created by some like individual or some like any just one individual. It will be created by a community of extra developers, a community of extra consumers, and of course the companies who will be building those platforms so that people can create such things like that. Now, to create such a environment and around us, there are certain things required to build a platform like that. And now I will when you try to create certain part where, of course, everybody is involved to create such kind of internet, there are certain things that is need to be required, which I clearly mentioned. Number one was, of course, the XR community, the consumers, and everything. But if we dig deep in this, like there are certain things that is mentioned here, which we definitely need. Number one is the infrastructure and manufacturing setup, like in-house production of hardware and robust supply chain, which is of course the platforms like ours and other companies have to do. The hardware should be there to, of course, implement these technologies for the people. Then there is the technology and platform where we of course come in, like we'll be giving you the platform to build such an application. Then there is of course XR experiences. Now here the developers like yourself will be coming in, where you will be creating, defining the VR and AR use cases which people can use. And for all of this, there is one thing which is highly required is like the 5G connectivity, because a virtual and AR, like a VR and AR world, in the daily, like a day-to-day life, will not be possible through the 4G network we have. It needs to have like a 5G networks around us. And more importantly, the thing that we require are two people, the developers and the consumers. Now, if we talk about the developer parts, we'll be coming back then later on, like how they'll be working on it and what's in it for them. Now, in the current scenario, of course, VR is booming. Like people are, of course, into this idea of VR and AR using it. But there's a very limited type of persona that are actually focusing on that they use daily basis. Now, if you talk about the smartphone perspective, the smartphone is used by everybody. Now, smartphone is used by the grandparents equally as the small, like younger kids in the family. That is the adaptability of a new technology that has happened in the smartphone in the last 10 years. Same way, VR as of now in the current stage, it is just being only used by the millennials who are interested in it. And rest of the personas have like they want to be part of it, they want to know more about it, but they're not very clear how they can use it. And that is where the consumer base is not very, like we have to work on the consumer base where, and like they so like of course a game industry is happening, like VR games are happening, people are enjoying it, there's like a particular persona who enjoys it. But to make it large scale adaptation of this technology, we have to consider all the personas that we have in front of us. And for that, what matters is the use cases, how we are getting the use cases right. As I was talking about the persona, like of course there's a very specific kind of people that have a like who are using this technology and for a set purposes. Now we need to be finding more use cases where everybody in the consumer segment can come in and of course they can enjoy this technology. Now, as per our beliefs and the things that we have as of now, these are the particular use cases that we have gone through. Now, first of all, like we have is the VTime. So VTime is a social collaboration application where people from all ages, from like old, young, they can just get on the headset, watch TV, kids and everything who are living far away from them, and they can actually interact with them in the virtual space. That is one example that we have come up, and it is being used by everybody, like every like from old age people to young people, they're using it because it is serving their purpose, right? Then there is another which like a VR 360 walkthrough of Asian events. Now it's more of a the learning curve of like a very specific audience that they want to know about history, how previous like old architecture look like. So in this way, we can also come up with in the Indian scenario, we can come up like how the Harappa civilization may have looked like, how the 12th century like Lord Ashoka lived, the how the Mauryas lived, and we can calculate these kind of experience of VR 360 in our use cases, so that people can actually understand where they have come from. They can understand their history, and that has like a totally like anybody would like to use these kind of experiences to learn more about it. Then we of course have games like a V20 cricket game, which of course is like a sports game, and like who doesn't like cricket in this country? And everybody. Then we have another application called Mithya to Mangalyaan, which is a learning experience, and it has kind of a different way of learning where you will be going through the experience in itself, but afterwards you will be interacting. Like the gamification has been done so that you can actually learn by doing. That is one kind of example which we can like children from young age to everybody can explore part. I'm doing it in virtual world, which is not possible for me to do in the real world. Then there we have games like a Yatra, which has a storytelling of an Indian princess, like based on really Indian princess and how she is playing around. and how she like taking her the story from her, like what she has done is in her life. We have implemented a game, right? That is one part that you can work on. And then there is about adventure games like Epic Roller Coaster that come with the place. Then there is yoga application where an instructor is in front of you telling what you should be doing and what you should not be doing in that yoga and how one specific thing can help you out. Now, going through all of these categories was the whole intention was to just to give you an idea of what we have achieved as of now in the use cases part, and of course what you can do in this spectrum, because there's a lot of use cases that can be done. And coming back to my point, key, these were the ideas not that we didn't as a platform deliver. It was the developers, like small individual developers, some of studios who come up with these ideas that they can actually help an Indian audience or any audience in the world. That these are the use cases that they would love to have in their that they would love to enjoy. And through our customer trial that we are running as of now, people are getting a response. Like they are giving a good response on these particular application only. That they love to interact with their son who is in US, and they can actually so see his digital avatar and talking to him about everything. And he's able to show them, okay, this is where he lives in a 360 environment. For a parent, it feels like, dude, okay, uh, I can see where he lives. Like, what is the surrounding around him? Through Asian Athens, of course, they have explored their history, where they have come from, and so on and so forth. So the main purpose of an XR metaverse, I just want to conclude here. When you talk about metaverse, it is just a bridge of a real world and the virtual world that we want to focus on. And in the principle, it is like it is a decentralized and democratized way of internet. And for that to be possible, we as a platform giver, we can just give you the platform, and you as a developer can come up with solutions which the consumers will enjoy. And at the end, it is the consumers who's making the final call. We want these applications. We want to use the internet in this way. We want to see the VR happening in this world. And we want it to be implemented in our life in this way. So that is what I want to conclude in this uh, slides. Now, when we talk about how to make the VRR application, there are certain things that we need to focus on. Now, as a developer, a lot of developers have been working with us, and of course, they know how to develop applications. Like they are like much more skilled than I personally am to develop these applications. But there are certain things which I really want to highlight here that they need to understand while making an application, especially for a VR audience. So you need to have like a platform specific as well. If you have a 3D of application which is like only a walkthrough, then a very advanced high-tech device, and we're going to make it for that, but it won't be accessible to the people, so it will also not work. I need to have the application flow ready as well, where if you're going from this to this, you need to have a very good idea. This is how you're going to end the objective of the application. This is going to the flow going to be. So, and when we are working on this application, these are the things that we lack on. Like a person will get the concept, a person, of course, will get the target audience. They will, of course, work on the platform. But the flow, it also need to be considered as well when you're discussing the application intent. And that is where I want to address that you need to work on the flow where it's going to work out. Now, of course, the development part I won't be handling at all because you all of like are good developers, and of course you can make good applications, and that is totally on you. I just wanted to mention that it is a part of the process, that there is a development process comes in. But then there comes the consumer readiness part. And that is the most trickiest part, because when you have the intent ready, when you have made an application, it is very difficult to understand what is wrong with your application. And that is where the QA checks and the feedbacks that you should be putting on like a lot of energy as well. Like I would sense that the time that you're putting in the development is the equivalent time that you need to put in the feedbacks and QA checks. Because to be honest, according to you, your app is amazing. But from a consumer point of view, it's not working out. People are not using it. Doing an application, when you're doing the feedback part or the QA check part of it, you need to be very honest with yourself and ask, would I pay money on it? Would I pay 100, 500,000 bucks on it or not? And that is where you get a lot of clarity. And of course, the QA check is necessary for that. But there's one more thing that you need to consider while getting it to consumer ready part is like the test cases of the failure. Like for example, when you're testing your application, when you're making the application ready, you need to create your own test cases. Like, okay, what if the user do this? What if the user do that? What if the user just takes off the battery and throws it off away? And what's going to happen? Like your application might crash. There's a bug starting to come up. from a developer point of view, you are developing it, amazing work, but you need to create the test cases as well. Okay, how it can fail, because not failing, like knowing what is failing is as equivalent to what is succeeding, right? And then you have to have a customer trial. Now, customer trial, of course, it's a large scale thing, but I would suggest that you just take it to your parents, ask them how you're using the application. But you need to define them. What is the intent of the application before you send them for the customer, like trialing you with your parents only as well. Tell them what is the applicant intent, what are you trying to achieve here, and then tell them to explore it. And they will give you the best feedback possible. And not only the parents, like anybody close to you, you can just give it to him and just tell him the intent, and that will give you a proper feedback to uh, this is the flaw in the application, and that's why you need to work on it. Now, these are things that you need to consider to make an application consumer ready. Now I'm moving on to my next slide. Now, now once we have decided to get the intent is ready, intent is there, people like have tested your application, uh, like they have tested your application, it feels good, concept is good. They're like, yeah, I've played it one time, it's good enough. Now you need to make sure that they should be keep coming to the application, and yeah, so you need to show कि ठीक है, this is the application, ठीक है, but how will you make sure that they will be keep coming back to the application again and again? And that's where these are the things which gonna derive the engagement for the consumers, like why they should be coming to the application. And it is not the intent of the story or like the use cases. We have discussed that, and this is where they will start using the application. How you get them to stick on it is other these things. The content part. What is what kind of content? How much content do you have in the application? The interaction. How you're interacting in the gameplay. Like with the VR, of course, you can exponentially use your controllers, gestures. You can just gaze and dwell. You can work on the mechanics of how you're using the application. All kind of things helps people to stay in the VR application. Then there are features like the one earlier mentioned in like like somebody said remote collaboration, and I said like so the social collaboration is one way. Like you have your friends coming on that application, their digital avatars coming in, you're experiencing and interacting with things in that way only. So that is one thing. Then they can have multiplayer mode in the application. Then you can have in-app teleportation. These kind of features, of course, allows people to stick to the app in the game. And of course, you have to maintain the proper UI UX. And when I mention UI UX, it's a very small thing, but when you're experiencing an application, if you're not able to clearly see what is happening around you, what you are observing, where you are in the application, these where the main menu is, where the tutorial is, these things, of course, gonna a very small thing, but it of course can derail you from the engagement that you want to achieve. So of course, you need to make sure of the UI UX as well. And of course, the graphic and audio quality should be amazing as well. Okay, now it should be visually very good. The audio should be of really good quality, and these kind of things you need to consider to keep the engagement. And the last part and the most important is no bugs. There shouldn't be any bugs in the application. For that, you need to have a good regular QA testing on your own, making the new cases to derive it. Now, considering that we have discussed the consumers, we have discussed the app, how what consumers gonna be, how the metaverse industry is exploding, how to make the application consumer ready, what are the use cases that we define. We just want to highlight to the next part, which is uh, like our XR community and the things that we have done as of now. So yeah, so I just want to highlight this particular thing, and I'll be like leaving off it here. As of now, we have like a fastest growing developer community and an XR app store. We have more than 4,000 plus signups on our XR app store with the people who believe that they which believe in the idea that of course we are giving them the platform of they are gonna create the VR experience for the people, and of course they are gonna create their own uh, metaverse, and their ideas are being on the platform. We have almost like 500 plus applications that has been shortlisted on this platform that we're gonna launch have on the launch. We have more than 300 plus developers and 100 top crossing applications in 6 categories. Like these applications are being tested by the customer and they have really liked it. And of course, uh, a lot of testing has been done and they are ready to incline on it. And we have a going community of developers on Discord where, of course, they'll be asking, like, they have their own questions and their ideas coming up, and of course, our team is helping them out there. So I'll be leaving off here. So this was my part, and thank you so much for having me on, on this call, and of course having me discuss this topic with you. So thank you so much, guys.
So I think we already have understood about the metaverse and its use cases. And thanks to Apurav for taking us through this metaverse and what we are going through at this moment and what new things are coming in this ecosystem. So I think the next step is basically how we can get our XR concepts ready if we want to develop something for this metaverse, right? And even before we get on that stage, let's understand how do we choose a right platform so that we have that right architecture so that we can start developing XR apps and on a right platform. There are many people, so I think there must be some factors, which you must have considered while, going either for the AR experience side or over for the VR experience side, right? So if I, talk about the AR experience, like when it comes to AR, so there are majorly two main display platforms earlier we had. So one is mobile, we all know that, which is Android and iOS. And second is the head mounted displays, which is the HMD, the headsets. So before even you begin, you need to, make sure who is your target audience and what your product needs. And I think most of the AR applications which are being developed for mobile devices was due to the cost which was associated with purchasing a head mounted display or a headset. So I think at this moment we all know that most of the available HMD the cost is on a higher side, so that is something which makes it not approachable for most consumers. So that was the one of the factor. And if the application is intended for everyday consumer use, so we might consider developing it for mobile. But if the app is meant to be used for an enterprise scale, so we can start developing it on HMD. And if with VR, so I think while we are choosing that, we need to decide what is more important for us when we develop like let's say if we are developing a high-end product that requires high-end performance, or we just want to design a product that will reach the mass market. Let's say for example, if your product is developed primarily for the visualization of real estate projects, let's say. So I think we always choose a high quality HMD to make the user feel like he's in a real apartment while being in a virtual environment, right? Or let's say if your product does not require any real-time data or visualization or the experience that we rendered in advance, which we usually recommend, or we usually choose the headset which is mostly a phone-based HMD. So to aim a wider audience or the target audience. So that is something I think which is for the like if you want to choose a target platform. So these factors will gonna help you to decide whether you want to go for the AR experience and for the VR experience. And let's say once we have decided this is our target platform, so then I think it is something after that we're gonna go into the development side where we wanna choose a developing platform. So again, I just wanted to ask one question here. How many guys prefer Unity over Unreal at this moment? How many guys think that Unity is more comfortable in development on Unreal? So again, there must be some factors, while you must have considered for selecting a developing platform. So I think just to summarize, if you want to target a developing platform, so the major factor which you need to consider is again what your product needs, what is the correlation between your developing platform and your target platform, and obviously the skills which you have, that also depends on that. And to summarize, as I said, how much comfortable you are working with this technology, that is one. Second is the hardware your target audience is going to use when they'll consume your content. And also we understand that there will be new hardwares which are coming up, and there will be more software solutions which will be available to the uh, developer community and the market. So consumers, they're going to take it, so the uptake will be going to increase here. So that is about how you can select a right platform while you're developing your apps. And I think now once we have that understanding, then we can have that idea. Now we should get our XR concept ready. Right. So, once we have that understanding, what is our target platform, what is our development platform. So then we just, gonna decide our target audience. And once it is decided, then we just need to, write it down, like what is my app description, And definitely app name is very important and it should be catchy. And we need to understand and we need to list down what are the features of our applications which we are putting in. For example, if it is a game, so it should, what is it, a single player or it is a multiplayer, right? Does it has a voice chat feature if we are putting a multiplayer? Does it has a leaderboard? So these kind of features you can put in. Then you can also define a content. Let's say if it is an entertainment application or if it is in a learning application, so how many models, what kind of models you are putting, what kind of content, let's say in terms of text, audio, video, you're putting in your application, that you can also define it. And once you have defined your scope, then basis on that, you can have a tentative idea on the timelines. Like this is my delivery, which I feel, let's say for a MVP product, which I feel, and definitely after that, you can get it consumer ready, right? So this is something how you can, use it to get your XR concept ready. And once I think the concept is ready, then you have a clarity what you want to develop, right? And I think the most important thing which I wanted to discuss here is once you have decided your concept, then again, how you're going to make your app stand out for the metaverse, because everyone is building same kind of application, for example, and we don't know, right? So factors which you can consider while you are developing your app. So these are some factors which you can consider while you want to make your app stand out in this metaverse. So first is very important. Whatever you are building, it should match the software and the hardware capabilities of the device which you have shortlisted, right? On which you are developing it. That is very important. Second, like one of the basic ideas of making an app stand out is to bring the innovation to the concept and design something people haven't seen before. And it could be a new sort of character or it could be a new thing altogether. So here design becomes very important. And in order for an application to earn success, it has to be able to answer the needs of those who are a part of your target audience. So you need to understand, you need to get that feedback, or you need to understand what they want in your application. Then I think, as I said, design has a major part in making an XR app popular. Every app that gets traction these days, always has a sleek design, beautiful interface. And the reason is that people like to explore the app. And if the interface is very good, they just browse through and check the app for further analysis. And let's say for the on the other side, if the interface is not at all good, so the chances are, the consumer will walk away in a few seconds. And yeah, so in order to, make your app stand out, make sure to design the interface and the gameplay of the app beautiful and attractive. And a lot of Indian developers, indie developers, and other guys fall short of doing the right branding as well. And they put their entire focus on just the app development, game development, and taking the name and branding for granted. And I think branding includes the game logo, the app logo, you know, color scheme, games avatar, fonts. So all these contribute to building a brand identity. And I think the best part of branding here is the Angry Bird. Let's say, for example, so whenever, wherever you see the characters of Angry Bird, you can recognize in this split second that, it's the Angry Bird game. So this is how branding works. So it's like, build your app brand from name to characters, colors to fonts in a way that, each and everything must differentiate from your app from others, right? And I think despite the fact people have increasingly, short attention spans and tend to skim through pages or, the flow of the app, the written content of the app. So it is very important, let's say the instructions which you have mentioned in your gameplay or, application are clear or not. Is the writing, the text which you have written in your application is catchy? Written content, should not be neglected, even if the visual elements are, specifically made to stand out. And last not the least, make sure the app loads very quickly. You need to optimize that, and whatever links or whatever elements you have given, that should be efficient. It's like, consumers, they don't like wasting time, and they will gonna quickly abandon an app. That creates a frustration even when it is useful. So I think these are some key points which you guys can remember, once you want to develop something which you want to stand out in the metaverse. And I think this is something which I just wanted to discuss about. And now if we talk about our own ecosystem, so I just wanted to show the next slide, which is the ATIP. So I think so this is our own ecosystem where we are kind of coming up with JioGlass, which is a smart glass, which is an AR device. And apart from that, We'll be also coming up with other cool devices as well in future. It's not like just we are only launching JioGlass. So there are many innovations are coming up in the future. But JioGlass is kind of first one to start with. And apart from this, in this ecosystem, we are also creating the whole cloud infrastructure, leveraging the existing data centers the Jio Telecom is already having. Then I think in this ecosystem, we are also creating our own operating system, which is Android based. And I think it is very important, like how Google is controlling everything with Android and what Apple is doing is already with, iOS. We should have our own operating system in place, which should give the best of services to all our stakeholders, whether it is a consumer, whether it is an enterprise, or whether it's a developer community, right? And also we are kind of creating different platforms here, where our first platform is basically for developers, content creators, and companies like you, who would be using our SDK platform services, cloud services to create meaningful apps for the end user. So this is our first platform. Second platform is which we have, that is we have created for consumers, which is for delivery. That consists of different consumer focused use cases. As earlier Apurva has also mentioned that, where we have certain kind of use cases, let's say media entertainment, where you have certain applications, let's say Geo Cinema, Geo Savan, Geo TV. All of these are being converted into XR so that people can, once wearing a JioGlass, they can have a feel of of virtual TV in front of you, where they can explore this content on a screen. Then we have learning, where we have a lot of companies, developers who are creating meaningful learning content on the platform. We also have curriculum aligned ER modules, 360 VR modules, in which everything is aligned to CBSE and other state-based curriculum. And another category in this use cases for consumers, we have shopping, we have gaming. A lot of developers in India and globally, they are coming on board and they have already delivered a lot of good experiences here. And it's a great opportunity, where you get an Indian platform to start monetizing and publishing your apps. Then apart from that, we have other categories, let's say productivity, utility, healthcare, and wellness. So you just name the category and all the content is coming on board. So it's like, it's open for each and every category, where you can start building your own experiences, which get listed on the store. And apart from this, I think it is being, powered by Geo 4G and Geo Fiber. And very soon, along with this JioGlass launch, maybe we'll also have 5G services launched by Geo. And yeah, so this is all about the ecosystem. And if you guys feel like this is something which will give you an opportunity to grow, and definitely people are passionate, they want to build such experiences and they want to monetize their apps, so definitely you guys can get started. You can join our program, which is the JioGlass Developer Program. Right. So this is the process where you guys can get signed up. You can submit your concepts, like how we discussed, how you can bring your XR concepts, and then once we have that, we just complete the legal formalities. Then we can get on board and you can start your development process. Then your app, when it is coming, it goes through all the QAs and checks, and we have a developer console portal where your app gets listed and get published. So it's a very simple process where you just need to have that experience and need to have that killer idea so that you can start building your app on the JioGlass developer this program.
So a brief note to conclude this session, right? For developers looking to enter, build, create, or lay foundation blocks for the Indian metaverse, XR application development through the JioGlass platform offers a unique opportunity. The platform can help you build immersive content for the next billion internet users, empowered with limitless possibilities. At JioTesseract, we are building an ecosystem that will soon change the way consumers live, work, and play. So join this revolution, because XR isn't just a thing of the future, it's already here. Thank you, Apurv, Abhishek, Shreyansh, and our partners and everyone who attended this event. If you have any other questions, please write us at developer@tesseract.com. It's very important for us to hear back from you guys. Aim is to keep on improving, keep on coming with information that adds value to your life. Please follow our social media handles to stay updated, connected about latest developments around JMR SDK and the XR ecosystem. Once again, on behalf of JioTesseract, I would like to thank you all for being an amazing audience. Thank you for joining us today.